How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Patty, and I appreciate you stopping by today. And if you're catching my content for the first time, the way that we like to kind of do things here is treat this like a live show, so you don't get a lot of edited content or anything like that. This is more or less me just speaking my piece. I am not a master of all knowledge. I do not know everything about this game. I'm just trying to put together some stuff to try and give people some insight to some stuff. You know, a lot of people right now are trying to like plan out teams and other stuff like that. So we're trying to put together some content for you guys to try and make some of that easier. I just noticed the stars on the screen. We're going to get rid of that little guy up there. But essentially, the way that I kind of do everything is treat it like a live show. I've gone through and made a bunch of whole stuff in Adobe, trying to make it look like it was made by an adult, and that's a struggle right there because I'm not a graphics design person. So for those of you guys with OCD, I tried to make all my pictures pretty. I tried to make sure things lined up the best that I could. But you know, it's amateur hour up in here. We can be 100% honest about that. So what we're trying to do is basically just look at like how do you build a team in this game, what things are you looking at, and then we're going to go into some of my like personal rankings on like characters that I really feel like are absolutely amazing, ones that I kind of want to build, and we'll kind of talk about them as we go through them. We're not going to go into full breakdowns of all the characters because we don't have 3 hours to all sit here and watch this, and I don't know enough about every single character to be able to really do that. We'll probably do character spotlights at some point where we, you know, hyper focus in on one person, talk about their strengths, their weaknesses, where you can use them and all. But we're not going to do that today. You'll get the light version to that with some people, but then kind of just focus on, you know, team building and stuff like that. So if you want to help your boy out, because we are still kind of a little baby YouTube, I'd really appreciate you hitting that like button. And, you know, if you have any questions, definitely hit me up. And if I don't have the answers, I got my buddy Google right here. I'll try to find information and respond to you in the best way that I can. I'm also being more active on Reddit and replying to a lot of people on there. So Petty's having to type so many paragraphs right now. So many paragraphs. But one of the first things that I kind of wanted to talk about and show you guys is that once you're getting into, like, you know, filling certain elemental slots and everything, certain elements you don't have a lot of choices. That's why we've got everybody over here. Some of these, Hydro, CRYO, and GEO, only have 3 characters as of right now that are in those elements. So if you're trying to build a balanced team or certain elements around your build, you're going to be kind of locked to some of these people and everything. So real quick, just to run through the list, and I absolutely apologize for all the butchering that I'm about to do of some of these names. But for Pyro, we've got Amber, Bennett, Diluc, Klee, Zhang Li. Under Animo, we've got main character, Jean, Venti, Sucrose, and Zhao. Probably mispronounced that one. I'm sorry. Electro, we've got Lisa, Razor, Official, Badu, Kuching. I think that's closer than I was last time on the pronunciation. Let's land on that. And then Hydro, we're getting into Barbara, Zhenghui, Mona, CRYO, Kea, Chongyun, Chi-Chi, Geo, main character Noel, and Ningyang. We're just gonna assume we're dead wrong on that one. But for the first 3 categories, there's 5 people in those, so you would get a little bit more play. And in my opinion, the bonuses and elemental resonances for having, you know, multiple of those people on your team are pretty strong. So balance-wise, I definitely kind of see why there's a few more of these 3 elements versus some of the other ones. So speaking of elemental resonance, let's go ahead and get into that. And this was a lot to try and fit on one screen, we'll just say that. And oh no, I'm blocking crucial information. I'm sorry. Get away, Petty, go. All right, Petty, go. Oh Lord, where's Petty? I'm in the sky. Sorry, I'm really dumb and I like doing stupid stuff. But, you know, now as Sky Daddy, we can rain down the knowledge. And this stuff is actually, I had to hunt around. I had seen some of this mentioned here and there on Reddit. I'll put a link in the description for this and a couple other resources that are helpful when you're trying to look at and review characters to break down skills and stuff like that. But specifically, this information is off of the, I think it's the fandom Genshin wiki. But I'll put a link to the specific page so that you can go and look at some of this stuff more closely and everything. But let's go ahead and run down the list real quick. And so essentially what this means by having, you know, any 4 elements or 2 Animo, 2 Electro, those are out of the 4 people on your team, how many of them are this? So obviously the first one, any 4 elements, all elemental resistance is up by 15%. That's a bonus that you get for having 4 separate elements on your team. And just everybody gets a little bit more elemental resistance. This is most useful early game, and you know, potentially some of your teams in Abyss, but I'm not going to talk out my behind about that because I have not done too much Abyss. So that's it's basically your intro to the elemental resonance, because you really don't start getting to some of these other ones until you're starting to get a larger character pool, and then depending on your luck, if it's even, you know, possible to use the 2 that you have of the same element to really benefit your team as a whole, which is what your goal is. You want team synergy across all 4 people. You don't want 2 people helping out, you know, only themselves and the other person. You really want your whole team coming together to, like Voltron, to bring down your enemies. So let's go ahead and get down to the next one. So we've got 2 Animo. Stamina consumption is reduced by 15%. Movement speed is up by 10%. Skill cooldown reduction by 5%. That's pretty nice, and there are definitely some teams that are built around having really short cooldowns and going through a lot of burst cycles. So the Animo buff there is definitely nice. And the movement speed is pretty solid. That'll help you a decent amount just everywhere because there's so many places to run. So I'm definitely not going to be mad if I'm earlier in the game able to rock 2 Animo people, but I'm not crossing my fingers for that one. So for Electro, 2 Electro reduces the duration of Hydro status by 40%. Superconduct, Overloaded, and Electro Charge has a 50% chance to drop an Electro Elemental Particle. Cooldown on that is 5 seconds. I believe that's what that means. So, alright. Couple of things to break down there. A lot of the rest of these are going to start having a basically penalty. So when you inflict Hydro on one of your enemies and you're running a 2 Electro team, the debuff of Hydro is going to fall off 40% sooner than it would have. That's essentially what that means, and it's pretty much going to ring true for all of these moving forward. They'll all kind of have that drawback of, okay, the thing you're comboing off of, or most likely to be comboing off of, is going to fall off sooner. So definitely a good thing to keep in mind when you're trying to pick out, okay, do I want to go with 2 of these and then 2 of these? So, you know, just to let you know that could throw a wrench in your plans if you're trying to run like 2 Electro and then 2 Hydro. You're gonna have a little bit of trouble with that one. You know, it specifically in that it would probably be more advantageous to run like 2 Electro and then 2 Pyro, because neither of those will cancel the durations off from each other, so you have longer time frame to be able to do combos, and neither of them, you know, they're both very good off of each other. Overload does a great amount of damage. Pyro and Electro are great friends, if you haven't seen any of the stuff for that. So and then the next thing on it that I want to touch on is the Electro Charge particles, or sorry, Electro Elemental Particle. Essentially will just refill your use meter quicker so that you're able to use your Q more. And the Lightning people have pretty strong Qs. Like, their Q game is on point. So definitely a great thing to also pair with the Animo, where you're going for, you know, skill cooldown reduction and everything, because being able to get the energy back really, really fast will make it so that you're able to use your Q more, and quite a few characters have interactions with, like, their E's getting reset off Q and stuff like that. I believe Fischl is one of the people that works off of that. So let's go ahead and get into the next one. For 2 Hydro, it reduces the duration of Pyro status by 40%, increases incoming healing by 30%. Definitely not bad. That, you know, could come in real handy in the Abyss, especially if, you know, if you've got statuses on the level that are gonna be really high damage. That could be beneficial. But there's also only 3 Hydros in the game, so good luck. 2 Pyro reduces the duration of Cryo status by 40%, and increases attack by 25%. Pyro people are among the top damage in the game. Pyro also does more damage bouncing off of Cryo than Cryo gets when it's trying to bounce off of Pyro. So it's just, you know, damage. This is a really strong one. Do I think you could run 4 Pyros and get the bonus from the 2 each time? I do not believe this works that way. Plus, with all the different elements you run into, I don't think you'd really want to run around with 4 Pyro. But the 2 Pyro is going to be a very popular resonance for people to go for, just because of its damage increase alone. Also, if you're early game, and, you know... If you've pulled absolutely nothing and you just got, was it Zhangli from the launch rewards and everything, pairing her and Amber on your team, everyone's going to do more damage. Definitely not a bad strategy. Next we got is 2 Cryo, reduces the duration of Electro status by 40%, increases crit rate against enemies that are frozen or affected by Cryo by 15%. That, you know, potentially could be very strong. I would probably argue that it might be a little bit stronger early game when you still have really bad stats and everything. So getting that bonus 15% could be pretty good. But I don't... Again, there's only 3 Cryo characters, so it's a little bit harder to make these ones work. 'Cause not all 3 of, you know, each of these elements that only have those are gonna be great. We'll just go with that. And then the last one is increases resistance to interruption. When protected by a shield, increases attack damage by 15%. This almost seems like it's going to be like Pyro, where it's a damage focused one, since you're getting that 15% damage increase. Geo is a pretty universally defensive element in the game. It doesn't really have interactions like a lot of the other elements do. It's a little bit like Animo, where it kind of has a more solitary interaction with all of them. It basically is called Crystallize, and it drops an element thing so that you can get a little bit of a shield from that. So again, really good defensive, but because of the limitations of, you know, it interacting with other stuff, I don't see a whole lot of people running 2 Geo teams. And again, because none of the Geos are super strong either. They're at best midfield, in my opinion. But, you know, in the first, you know, 20 or so hours of the game, when your main character first gets Geo, it does a gross amount of damage. A gross amount of damage. So, you know, I don't want to discourage anybody from using the main character Geo element, saying that Geo is just bad across the board. It can definitely be beneficial depending on when and where you're trying to use it. But not the highest recommended of all time. Alright, let's go ahead and let's get to some of these tier lists. And I'm trying to get through this as fast as possible so that this isn't a 30-minute long video. So from here, the slides are basically going to be very loose tier rankings for me, and we'll talk about some of the stuff about why some people are where and everything. But before we get into all that, the game is not even out yet. Take mine and any tier list you see with a great amount of like pinches of salt. So all of this is just speculation for the most part, out of like reading skills and stuff. And again, I encourage people to go and check the links I'm going to put in the description and do your own reading into the characters, their abilities and stuff. And I'll put a few different resources down there so you're able to look at more than just one source for some of this. So, real quick, my girl, Klee. She's the first one in the S category. For some of my older fans and everything, you guys might be familiar with Cream. Cash rules everything around me. The younger people, go look that up. But with our girl Klee, we've got Break. Bombs rule everything around Klee. She is the only bomb class, or not really class, but she's the only character that has bombs in the game so far. They are absolutely devastating. They're absolutely fun. And there's a lot of things that you can do in the open world with like opening and solving puzzles. Bombs fix a lot of problems. So she personally is one character that I really want to get. She's not the top damage dealer in the whole game from everything that I've seen. But the bombs are great, do a lot of damage, and she's just pure memes. And Petty loves his memes, so it's why my girl Klee is up here at the top. Diluc has some of like the strongest combinations once you're getting into elemental interactions, and does great damage. He's a 5-star. We shouldn't expect anything less from him. If you pair him with Venti, he's really strong. Venti can group everyone up, and then this man just starts bullying people, mass collecting lunch money. It's beautiful. Next person's going to be Bennett, and he's the first person in our A category. And specifically for him, this slot right here just means that he's S-. Like, he absolutely... Let me bust out the stars so that there's no confusion of who I'm talking about. Our boy right here is amazing. One of his skills basically puts an area of effect around players with low health in that will regain health, so he's a healer. And then players with more health do more damage by the amount of health that they have. So he is one of the best support people in the whole game. Like, he arguably probably could be S tier. I am praying to the Lord that I get Bennett. If you've seen any of the people talking about comps, a lot of the min-maxers and everything, you're going to see Bennett a few times on those lists. I'm going to just let you know that now. So that man is practically honorary S tier, but it felt a little one-sided just to have 3 in S, 1 in A, and then 1 in B. So for balance sake, we brought him down a little bit, but that man, he almost up here. And for some people, he's probably going to be up there. So just want to let you know, Sir Bennett is to be respected. Zhengli is great, the other person in the A rank. The fact that you get her early game is wonderful because her DPS is just gross. She's one of the 2 spear users in the game. And she just all around shows up to work. She is a character that early game you can definitely build teams around to have her just pump out the damage. So she definitely earned her spot there. I know there's going to be a few Amber stands. And shout out to y'all. Love y'all too. Don't take this as any hate or anything like that. But Amber's, real good for all the stuff that she allows you to do in the open world for like solving puzzles and stuff. If you don't have her, you almost guaranteed need to have someone with a bow. So like, Official, Venti, you kind of need one of those people on your team if you're out and about in the world. But it isn't so amazing that I would recommend anyone early game dumping a bunch of resources into her. I would definitely be more conservative for what you do for her versus some of the other characters. That's just Petty's 2 cents. Let's get into Animo real quick. And this one, oh, another time where we probably could have potentially ended up with 3 people at S, but Jean is absolutely gross. She's the first person in S, obviously. She does great damage and great healing. So that is why she has just earned her rank up there on S. She is, a lot of people are going to be re-rolling to try and get Jean, because she would be a huge boost to have at any point in the game, let alone right off the bat. So she's real good. Our boy Venti is really good. To get some of the best stuff out of him, you need really specific gear, really good set, really good bow, and then he can be absolutely amazing. But his elemental stuff is just so strong. His ability to group up large groups is just so strong. So Venti is, again, just thank you for showing up to work today, sir. You're doing great. And I want to say Moni? No. Zhao. Woo! We were way off. So our lonesome boy in the A rank, Zhao, is theorized to be one of the highest DPS characters, but I believe there was some changes and nerfs to him since one of the betas. So he, if I am completely wrong about that, that man's S tier. But if they did nerf him, like I believe they did, I think he's still really strong, but definitely not as strong as Jean and Venti can be. Not just off DPS, but all of the utility that they also bring to the team. That's why I would definitely slide them just a little bit above him. And then main character Animo is great. You're gonna have a lot of fun with him early game, a lot of Mimi stuff. You're gonna set so many fields on fire. Boo! I'm looking forward to it for you, because it's fun setting things on fire. So he absolutely amazing early game, and he does get used in some teams later on, especially when you're getting into Abyss and everything, because the 2 Animo set in Abyss is a very strong thing. People typically recommend you have 2 to 3 Animo people in your Abyss team. So man's not bad. And then that's basically all I can say with confidence, because I don't know nothing about Sucrose. I tried to find some more information out on him. All the stuff I has just has question marks next to him. So either I'm really bad at finding information, or there's just not a lot out on him right now, and he might not be in any in the summon pool for the open beta on CN, because I haven't seen any real details on this person yet. But I also could have just completely missed him. So if you want to drop some knowledge on your boy, I'd appreciate that. Getting into Electro, and I promise I'm trying to move this along as quick as possible and everything. So we've got Kuching. She is absolutely gross with her damage. She is a 5-star, and she showed up to work. There are so many stands of her around right now. I feel like I don't need to explain her a whole lot. Just, go make a post about her on Reddit, and the stands will be there to let you know what you need. Something that some people might be surprised to see up here is Fischl, and it's because she is one of the stronger 4-stars, in my opinion. So while if we were making a tier list that went across every single type of element type, she probably wouldn't end up in S tier. She'd probably end up somewhere in A. But in terms of just Electro people, I feel strongly enough about her to put her in S, especially if you were trying to go for the pairing to get that elemental resonance for the cooldown reduction. Another thing is that she has the strongest E in the game. It's gross. It's gross. She's showing up to work. And she's going to be relatively accessible for a lot of people. I happened to get her on the beta. About 3/4 of the people I knew playing the beta had pulled her and enjoyed her. She is going to be a very, very, very good free-to-play unit for a lot of people. So she definitely earns her spot, in my opinion, right next to Kaching. Not Kaching. Kuching? I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I'll learn. I promise. Lisa, y'all know how I feel about my girl Lisa. She is absolutely amazing. Probably one of the strongest starting characters, even with them tweaking her a little bit. If for all the people that played the beta, none of us were surprised to see her getting nerfed a little bit, because she was very, very, very strong. Still good, but more in par with where everyone else is, because she is definitely tearing stuff up a little bit. If you go with the Elemental Mastery set from the Road to Glory stuff, she's still probably going to be just about as good for you. She's going to bully. And then the other two that we got, and I actually have to check my list for this one, is Razor and Baidu. I'm messing those ones up. They're kind of the lame ducks of the party. Most people from, Pyro, Animo, and Electro, since they've got 5 characters, most of them are pretty decent. These two are not that great. If Razor can be built for damage if you haven't had a lot of luck and haven't got a lot of other people, he's definitely not bad to step in and help fill that role. And a sister there, I don't know if she's a sister. I'm just making that joke because they're next to each other. She's not super impressive either. Again, the links that I'll put will give descriptions for their skills and everything, so that you can kind of take a look at them. They're just not all that impressive, in my opinion. Definitely not high on my list of people to use when I'm trying to go for certain team synergies and everything. So we've crammed Hydro, Cryo, and Geo into this last picture so that we didn't, try to do 3 more slides where there's just 3 characters to fill those in. So if you were worried that was about to happen, don't worry. I got you. I'm trying not to waste your time right now. But this list is a little bit rougher. As you can see, we're actually using the C rank for the first time. It's the whole reason that rank is here, just for this last slide, basically. But let's go ahead and start up at the top. We've got Mona and Chi-Chi. They're, the brand new 5 stars. They're gross. They're gross, and their elemental interactions are they showing up to work. Also, in the fact that there's only 3 characters with those elements in the game currently, definitely pushing them up to being in the S tier for this rank. Just because you don't have a whole lot of great Cryo or Hydro characters. So pretty straightforward on that one. First one, our A rank, is Barbara, and for a lot of people, she's going to be the closest thing to a healer all of us have for a little while. So healers, in my opinion, in this game, just because of how much damage you take and how much work food is, you need healers. So any healer almost gets a rank from me. Unless you're Noel, because you're not really a healer, in my opinion, but we'll get to that in a second. And then main character GEOA is just because of the damage that he does. It's like I went on a little tirade about him earlier, so I don't want to back that up or rerun too many of that again. But pretty solid, and is definitely very useful when you first get him and everything. I haven't seen any GEOMCs on any comp lists or anything like that for Abyss, so I don't know if that's really got any use in late game. But to not discourage people that when they get him to be like, oh well, this is just bad, I don't want to use it. No, it does gross damage. So he's pretty solid in my opinion. First in the B rank, we've got Chongyeon, Chongyeon. He was my favorite cryo person that I got to test out of the two of them, which is why he's first in this category. But also he uses a two-handed weapon, and that makes mining and doing some stuff in the open world a whole lot easier. Otherwise, you're going to stand there for like 20 minutes trying to get that stuff out. And his E, he essentially creates an area where any attack or any basic attack in that zone will do cryo damage and apply cryo. So I use that a lot personally to basically put that down and then switch to my person who does the most melee damage. And it ran through stuff and was really effective, especially when I was, fighting Pyro or something like that. So definitely strong, definitely good in the group, and does a pretty solid job. So man earned his B status for sure. Noelle, I personally know that I don't like her as much as some people in the community did. I did not find her shielding to be strong enough to really offset the fact that she felt like, a wet blanket outside of that for me. But I potentially could have, put bad gear on her or, not invested in her enough to see the light. So I know I've seen some people that might disagree with her usefulness from me. So just throwing that caveat out there, to be honest with y'all. And then we've got our man, Kea, who I was a little hard on before. Because, and to reflect that, he's not in C rank, he's in B. Do you see me being nice right now? Because this is me being nice right now. No, they did buff him and everything since the closed beta that I tried, so he should be more useful, do more damage. He just very quickly was someone that I only popped out on my team when I needed to use cryo real quick and apply that effect. But they've made some changes to him that should make him more useful, so I feel like he's got, more value now than he did before. And our C rank here is basically just people that need to be buffed. They're arguably not good. One of them shields, and then the other one's only real purpose in life at the moment is to apply hydro. So they just need love. They're not in a great place right now, and I definitely don't recommend building these people when you're trying to put your teams together. But let me know if you guys have any other questions. I want to go ahead and wrap this one up here before we make it too long. I really appreciate all you guys stopping by today. And yeah, I think that's about it. You're gonna have to catch your boy in the next one, cause we out of here. Deuces.